So Stranger Things, it basically ends in 1 week, right? So today is December 24th, it's Christmas Eve. Stranger Things Volume 2, Season 5 comes out tomorrow on Christmas. And I want to give my thoughts 'cause I've been rewatching the series, since season 5, Volume 1 came out. And I want to talk about whether or not Stranger Things is a good show. All right, because Stranger Things is like one of the most divisive TV shows of all time. Because it's one of the most popular TV shows ever. At one point, it was the most popular Netflix show of all time, and it still is massively popular. But there are so many people who I talk to who are like, "Oh yeah, I feel like the show should have ended after season one. The show should have ended 7 years ago. It's been going on for too long. The kids aren't even kids anymore. It doesn't have the same feel. You know, characters they don't die, so there's no stakes, which isn't even true. It is, but I will say that like Stranger Things is a flawed show, right? I like it a lot, but it is a flawed show, right? Because there, but I feel like one thing that I've noticed is that aside from season one, everyone is like season one is spectacular. It's basically perfect. Aside from season one, everyone has a different season that they think is the worst, right? Like some people are like, oh yeah, no, season two is the worst. Some people are like, oh yeah, no, it's season three. Season three is the worst because like Hopper, the character assassination that happens to Hopper, you know, the 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 way that the story isn't as focused on the tight cast. 'Cause even at the beginning, right? Stranger Things always had a larger cast, but the pacing for season one was so on point, right? It was so enjoyable. It never felt like it was bloated. It never felt like there was too many characters. In fact, it felt like the cast, even though there's a lot of characters in the first season, it still feels small because they utilize the groups so effectively. And grouping is a huge thing. Grouping is a huge thing in Stranger Things, like the whole dynamics for it. But I disagree with the idea. Like I've come around. I used to be like, oh yeah, no, season one, it should be like an anthology. After that, it shouldn't have gone past that. It would have been nice to have like an open-ended mystery. But going where I'm at with the series now, I'm like, no, I really do enjoy these characters. I enjoy seeing them develop, seeing their relationships develop, how they mature, because that is the benefit of these characters starting off as kids and becoming young adults. Because you do see them mature over time, right? Because like even some of the things you see the adults mature over time too. Because people, I hate it. I hate season three Hopper a lot, right? But it does make sense when you think of the trauma. This is a veteran. This is a war veteran. He's a legitimate war veteran with PTSD. He's already lost his daughter, like through like a brutal way, right? It destroyed his life. It destroyed his hope for life. It led to him drinking, doing drugs, sleeping around with people who doesn't really care about. He was an emotionally traumatized individual who went through one of the most the craziest fathomable situation possible. So it does make sense that as his now adoptive daughter, who he's rebuilt his relationship with, to replicate, not to replicate, but it does fill the void that was left in his heart once his daughter died, by adopting 11. That Ash becomes an adolescent, a teenager, and starts dating Mike, who Mike is a good, he's a good boy, he's a good guy, but he's a smartass, right? And he was being disrespectful, right? I do think that the whole Mike 11 scenario, it is a bit contrived, and that like Mike never tells 11, hey, Hopper's telling me we can't spend as much time together, so I'm gonna lie to you. Even though the foundational tenet of the party in Stranger Things is friends don't lie. So I don't love that they decide to lie. I don't like that, right? But and I do think that the whole breakup scenario, like separating them, it is a bit contrived because like Mike and 11, like that is the parent. One of the things I love about the show, where I'm like, yeah, no, I'm happy that it continued going, and without becoming an anthology, is that, man, I like Mike and Al's relationship. I like it so much. It's just so cute. It's just so raw. It's just so because Eleven's such an interesting character, right? She's not a traditional character. She's basically a feral child, um, learning about the world, and learning about how to process her trauma. Like Mike is a kid who they're going through some trauma. Okay, I'm big into horror. I'm big into like not necessarily gore, but like horror where it expands the limitations of what's possible in reality. And Stranger Things does that a lot. Like I'm currently watching Stranger Things 3. I'm at that point of the rewatch. That's why I'm focusing a bit more on Stranger Things 3. Because like Stranger Things 2, it is. We'll get to that in a little bit, but it is a bit. It is fairly reminiscent of Stranger Things 1, right? But I love Mike and Eleven's relationship a lot. So Volume 5 comes out tomorrow. I'm like, if the whole Byler situation comes true, I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. Where it's like, Will Byers, Mike Wheeler, because like yeah, Will loves Mike. He is in love with Mike. But Mike has always been in love with Eleven. But it will be kind of funny because Will showcases like he has powers. He's always like implied he has powers, and I actually think that like Holly Weaver is likely to be a psychic as well. Um, she's always shown signs. She's always shown like an attunement to the things that other people don't see. And in Stranger Things, I like how there's no such thing as a coincidence. There's so much things to like, right? The fact that each season is somebody's least favorite and somebody else's favorite, it shows that there's something right about each season, right? The relationships, right? Like I love watching. I love Lucas. I've really grown to love Lucas over time, right? I never liked Lucas when I first watched season 1, right? I was like, all right, he's there. He's the black one, so you gotta show. I gotta represent, right? But I always thought he was kind of just there. He wasn't notable, right? Like Dustin has so much character, has so much personality. Will, he's barely in season 1, and he's in season 2, but he's just doing his own. He's being possessed by the mind flayer, right? Like so like most of him in season 2 is him just like seizing up, you know, or him being surrounded by Winona Ryder being like, "What's wrong with my boy?" Like I don't know. There's stuff to love about this show, right? Like I love hearing Winona Ryder go, "My boy," and knowing she's not talking about Jonathan. She's always talking about Will, right? Um, and seeing Will's character, like how he feels left behind, how he processes his trauma and learns to turn that trauma into a strength, right? And how his trauma, right? Like, because like I've been seeing people break down how they predicted the inclusion of Vecna all the way back in season 2 by analyzing Dungeons and Dragons lore, and they were able to assess that the reason why so like they're able to assess that like Will is psychic, which is like I always thought that too. I always thought that like after season 1 he's gonna develop powers similar to 11, right? I always thought that. But these like fan casters, they were like, all right, the reason why Will develop powers is that he's always been alluded to be gay, right? Even in season 1, right? In season 1, Joyce talks to Hopper, and they're like, "Oh, he's not a fairy, is he? Like he's not gay, is he?" Right? As like a bit of a throwaway line, and in season 1, it's nothing, right? But it comes back later on in the story where it's like, no, he actually is, a queer character. He's gay, right? But him learning to accept who he is as a person, that's what enables him like self-realize and self-actualize. That's what enables him to actually like fully utilize his psychic abilities. And like I like that. Like there's good writing in Stranger Things, right? There's good direction. People are like, oh man, the Duff Brothers don't know what they're doing. There are definitely flaws in the series, right? But I think overall, Duff Brothers do make good content. They make good movies. They make good TV shows, right? Like, I'm calling it a movie because like these are like they even say it themselves. They're like, we want to make sure things like they're all like mini movies, right? And you feel that, right? Like even if you're like, oh man, the story is like kind of like being a bit nonsensical right now, you're gonna be drawn back in by the character relationships. If you're like the character relationships are being like they're going in a bit of a circle, like with like Jonathan and Nancy, for example, or Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve. You can focus on like the visuals of the show because like the show basically always looks good. Season five, even for season five, right? Because like people are complaining about like, oh, season five, the upside down isn't scary anymore. Um, you know, like there's no threat to it because like in season four, Eddie was like ripped to shreds by the demo bats, right? But in season five, there's no demo bats. There's no threat in the upside down. That's because the military is there, right? So the military is clearing all those stuff out, right? So the threat is mitigated by the military. Now the new threat in the upside down is the military, while getting closer to the source of the upside down's like mysterious nature, right? So it's like when one thing isn't working amazingly in Stranger Things, you're gonna have like multiple other things. Like the characters are so lovable, right? I've grown to like you grow to like most of the characters over time. Like even when you don't like Robin, for example, where you're like she's talking too much, she's a bit annoying. I feel like she's clever. I don't know. I feel like she's so charming. Like Maya Hawke just is. I feel like she just brings so much charisma to the character. Where you're like, yeah, she's talking a lot, but it's Maya Hawke. She's going off. You know, she's just like so passionate about it, right? Or 11, where it's like, oh yeah, 11 does. She just sticks out her hand and solves a problem. Where it's like when you actually like are rewatching the show, yes, that is how 11 uses her powers, but the show is basically like real life anime, right? Because even in anime, like live action anime, even in anime, it's a common problem where there's too many characters, right? Like for my favorite anime, you can see it back there. Back, I'm trying to point there, right there, is One Piece. Uh, One Piece. Damn it. Whatever. I have a poster back there for One Piece, right? One Piece has so many main characters that you can't balance it all out, right? And so it happens, right? So there are a lot of similarities between like Stranger Things because they even admit that one of their main inspirations is Akira, which is one of the most famous anime movies of all time, right? Where it features like psychic children, which I can I say I really, really, really hope. Like, yes, part of me wants a happy ending where like Mike and Levin can like can just like get married and have kids, yada 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 yada. Part of me really does hope they go for the Akira body horror, you know, where Elle and Vecna possibly Will. Even though I don't want Will this for Will in particular, but where those characters, where like they transcend humanity, right? Because like the way that Akira ends, not to spoil, but it's just like a character becomes so powerful that they become too powerful for their own body to even maintain, right? And it leads to like them mutating into this like a horrible cosmic explosion where they transcend humanity and literally become a god. And it's actually like a very tragic scene, right? But I want that for season five. Either for 11 or for Vecna. That'd be cool for Vecna because like Vecna has already thrown away his humanity, and that actually would be a pretty cool way to have his character end, right? Where he's like, yeah, I want to be a god, and so I'm given what I desire, but what I desire actually turns out to be like my total downfall, right? It's like a classic Shakespearean hamartia, hubris, one of those things. I believe it's his hubris that leads to his hamartia, which is his ultimate downfall, right? I believe that would be a very fitting ending for Stranger Things. But Stranger Things, I feel like it's a good show. Right? I think it's a really good show where there's something for everybody to enjoy. And yes, people are like, "Oh man, the show gets bigger and bigger each season," and that makes it like, because like Stranger Things one is so tight and focused. Uh, I still think that Stranger Things 1 through 5 is a good watch. It's fun. Um, it's entertaining. You get these characters are compelling. They grip you, right? Um, you get enough to like yeah you don't get all everything that you want out of the show after season one. You get a lot. You get a lot. There's a lot to enjoy. It's funny. Sometimes it's too funny. Like it's funny at inappropriate times. It cuts the tension. Even still, the times where that happens, there's still gonna be times where there's tension, right? Like like there are scenes where it's like it's so genuinely like horrifying and terrifying. Where it's like, you know what, we do need a little bit of humor to like break tension. I still don't love the never ending story. I feel like that's a bit too far. I feel like that's like this is a bit of jumping the shark in the moment because it's like we're having this horrible monstrosity, right? Chasing these kids. The mind flayer composed of rotting, decomposing flesh of humans and mice, just composed purely through psychic energy, chasing our heroes, and then you have Dustin over here singing the never-ending story for like 3 minutes. That's that's a bummer. Like that's not like even though like I like Susie, I could have been so without that scene, right? And like Hopper becoming like an angry, wildebeest throughout season 3. Like I could have done without that, but I also understand it. I just feel like that wasn't handled appropriately. Um, Jonathan's characterization throughout the story, uh, we're past season 1, where it's like, because like Jonathan was he's like a super main character in season 1, right? He's very important. He has his own storylines, like dedicated storylines, and his own what's the word, agency, right? In seasons, as the seasons progress, he's always just there tagging along with somebody else. Like in season 2, he's tagging along with Nancy for the Justice for Barb situation. In season 3, it's also Nancy, right? Where there's just like dysfunction in the relationship that isn't really resolved appropriately, and it gets to the point where season 4, Jonathan and Nancy are just in totally different environments. Where it's like, yeah, you do want to have Jonathan and Nancy. You do want to have Jonathan doing his own thing, not just tagging along with Nancy for the entire show. Um, but the and even for season 4, right? I feel like um, Vecna is he's a really good addition, right? He's a cool character. I like his little pot-bellied figure, his physique. I think it's very funny, and I think his powers are cool. But it's also, but it does get frustrating where it's like he's this all-powerful, basically like a demigod, right? But he won't. But when it comes to killing our main characters, it's like, oh man, it takes forever, right? Like even in season 5, right? In volume 1, season 5, where it's like Karen Wheeler fighting off the Demogorgon, and you legit just see the Demogorgon just like posing, like flexing in the doorway, just like waiting for Karen to finish her lines, like "Stay away from my daughter, you bitch," or whatever she said, something along those lines, right? Where she had to have her epic moment. And then she like stabs the Demogorgon with the wine bottle. It's like, all right, we make like yes, Karen and Ted, they both get mauled by the Demogorgon, but why do they pause like that? Like it is frustrating. What's a TV show, right? But it does take you out of it for sure. It takes you out of the suspense, the terror of it. I also wouldn't have been bad if like Ted Wheeler died. Like Karen Wheeler is one thing, keep her alive for the reunion so that like you know, Nancy, Holly, and Mike all have somewhere to go back to. But Ted, like, it's even a joke in the series that, like, he is useless. Like, he doesn't do anything. Yes, he pays the bills and like, he's wealthy, that kind of stuff. And that plays into Nancy's character quite a bit. And it's also the reason why, like, all the kids go to Mike's house in particular, because, like, he's the one who has the most money and space. Um, to, like, have a bunch of friends over, whereas, like, going to, like, Will's house, it's like half time Will's house is destroyed. And even when it's not, it's still just Joyce paying the entire, well, Joyce and Jonathan paying for the entire house with like a what's it called? She works at a grocery store or something like that, or like some kind of like retail store, right? She's not making a ton of money, but even still, this show is something to enjoy for everybody. I feel like it's a good show. Um, I'm excited for season 5. Like, yeah, it hasn't been everything that I wanted. I think it's kind of crazy that season 5, volume 1, largely focuses on the characters just kidnapping children. Like, not even the bad guys. The good guys are just kidnapping people. Like, I feel like that was a really weird writing choice. Um, but even like, I still feel like there's things to enjoy about season 5 so far. The ending for it seems very short. Like it seems like it's going to be very short, but I don't know. I'm excited for it. I enjoy season. I think that Stranger Things is a good show. Right. I think that there's lots of things to enjoy about it. Um, like yes, there are flaws. Stranger Things has major flaws. Like characters don't die. You know, the characters that do die are typically the ones that are introduced in that very same season, explicitly so that they have someone to attach to, so that they can then die. Even still, the characters that don't die are so charming, right? It's still a good time to watch them. Like it's 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 not a bad thing to like. Yeah, you can flame the Duff brothers for like not having the guts to kill off their favorite characters, like not kill off Steve. Because I'm hearing people being like, "Oh yeah, if Steve died off in like season three, season four, something like that, right? Maybe season four. That I feel like that would have made sense. Um, if he died off, then Dustin would have been able to. Because like, yeah, we got the Dustin and Steve dynamic, and that's fun. We had that for like from season two, season three, season four, and season five actually. It would be nice if season five ended with Dustin with Mike, Steve, sorry, Mike, Lucas, Will, and yeah, those guys, right? Like with the original core group of friends, plus 11, right? Plus Max, right? And like as I say that, it's like that's why you don't see all those characters together. But those are most of the thoughts that I have on Stranger Things. I enjoy the show. I think it's a good show.